We don't even need white pants to do it.
We definitely need white pants.
Do any of the factions in Guild 1 have white pants? The other ones have white pants?
Audie's our PC shield anyways. We can say anything we want because he's black.
I'm not racist. I have one blind friend.
God damn it! Shut up!
You should list your dogs as guest stars.
Well, they pretty much were. They were in the first video. Hi guys, and welcome back to the 5th episode of Battered Bastards of Battlefield. We have a few topics to talk about today. This video might go a little bit over 30 minutes just because the topics are pretty important and there's quite a bit to talk about. But our topics today are going to be about server rentals and the things that need to be added for server administrators to be able to do to make that really nice and worth it. And we're also going to be talking about hardcore mode because that's a plus, and we'll also put some comments in on the patch, which we are very happy Lars Gustafsson is designing. So let's start talking about servers because they now have the server rental option, which is really important because custom servers are what make Battlefield great. But there is quite a bit that's lacking from the server administrator page. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a server administrator page. I'd call it, I don't even know what I'd call it. It's not anything.
You're just renting play space.
Pretty much. I mean, you don't have the ability to kick or ban players. You don't even have the ability to password the server that you're paying for. The server rental is only for 6 months, which I guess isn't such a bad thing. It is rather cheap when you look at the pricing of it, but it's at the same time having third-party rentals would be great because then you could have competition and the lowest price would obviously win.
Have no control over the amount of people in the server.
That too.
Automatically with the game mode.
Yeah, the game modes are locked to the numbers of people that DICE supposedly wants everyone to play those game modes on. So there's not going to be any 64-player rush or anything anytime soon. And that's definitely something that needs to change. We need to be able to customize. If I want to play a 64-player team deathmatch, and I'm not saying I'd really want to do that, I should be able to. And like Conquest, one of my favorite things in Battlefield 4 was 32-player Conquest, and because I thought 32-player Conquest was great, and it's kind of disappointing to me that there's not any 32-player Conquest in BF1, simply because the servers don't allow it. And the other thing I found really weird, which this probably makes less sense to me than anything else, it's not possible to add all 9 maps to the rotation. You only get to select 6 maps. Why? What is the point of that? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I've been looking around and I heard that apparently this is just the first iteration, so they've alluded to them adding more stuff later on, but I don't see why they couldn't just put it in right away. It doesn't make any sense, and the customization options, yeah, that's cool and all, but it's not enough. They don't give you enough stuff.
Yeah, well, clearly to me, this is some sort of hostile business decision by EA or DICE or somebody to capitalize on the, basically what they did is they wanted to make all the official DICE servers or whatever look spectacularly awesome, and then all the custom servers get kind of washed under that because the server browser only shows 50 results. So it's not like you can go in the server browser and browse through servers. You only see the first 50, and I guarantee that the first 50 on that list are always going to be DICE official servers, unless you know the name of a server that's custom, that's by someone else, that you can search for.
Your filters specifically to look up certain rule sets.
Yeah. As far as the customization goes, I definitely want a lot more customization options than Battlefield 4 had, for instance. We tried this the other night. We set the server to have bolt actions only just for fun, and it was kind of weird because the bolt actions didn't transfer over to the other kits, and so if you wanted to use an assault or a medic or a support, you had to use a pistol only, which is ridiculous.
But if you ban the pistols, then you don't even get that.
Yeah, you can't use anything with the scout class, which is ridiculous. That needs to be changed. So my thing is I want the choice to remove specific weapons, not just like the general weapon class. I want to be able to say, I want to be able to make a a hardcore server that doesn't have any scoped variants of of all the weapons and things like that. You know, you need to be able to pick and choose exactly which weapons we want in each kit.
Yeah. So, say if you were running a historical authenticity server, you could pick and choose exactly which weapons were used in, higher numbers during the war.
Yeah, and those choices need to be able to be set, I feel, per team. So, like, if you don't want the German army using Enfield rifles, you should be able to do that. If you don't want the British using Gewehr 98s, you should be able to do that. And we need the ability to move those weapons. So, like, if I don't want the assault class having experimental submachine guns which weren't used in the war because, say we're running an authenticity hardcore server or something, we need to be able to take bolt action rifles from the scout class or something and move them to the assault class.
Yeah, because the original stormtroopers were ones that used bolt action rifles, and it wasn't until the final months of the war that the German army actually started to use the MP-18. They used it in great numbers, but only like the last few months.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, this isn't really a complaint about Battlefield 1. Like, we like Battlefield 1. The only thing is we want the ability to truly make a custom experience, not only for casual public play, but also for our tournament, because our tournament is really interested in playing Battlefield 1. But currently, with the way that the server rental options and the lack of customization is set up, it's not really possible for us to do so. Yeah, we can play the vanilla game, but we really would like to modify it to a tournament setting. And that includes removing specific gadgets and maybe even setting vehicles for specific teams, doing things that can really switch up the experience in the tournament environment.
It's essentially would be a create your own mod tool.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like we don't necessarily need mod tools, but at least give us, because it's not like the weapon balance in Battlefield 1 is bad. It's not like we don't like the weapon balance. It's just that we would like to play with a certain set of rules that's completely different from what Battlefield 1 currently has. One other thing that's really weird that's not anywhere in the server rental page of any kind is you can't reserve slots for anybody. I can't reserve slots for World at War members or people that donate to the server. I can't put up server messages and stuff like that, which is really, really weird. And there's no administrative commands to like reset the map or skip the map or to even change to a specific map. And there's no map voting either.
Yeah, the server rental program as it is right now is basically you renting a hotel room.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, the price wasn't, like I said, the price wasn't too bad. We have a custom server now. We're gonna talk to the tournament admin here at World at War, and we're gonna try and get a World at War night going on the server. So hopefully we can get a full server going on it. It is hardcore. It has no HUD, no elite classes. It has extended spawn times. We do believe that in hardcore, extended spawn times would prove much better than the short spawn times that are currently in the game, just because you'd be able to swipe a squad and then take the flag before they were able to respawn on each other. But I will put the name and the Reddit post and the donation link in this description of this video if you guys are interested in learning about it. So let's move on to patch comments, because you know what? I really like this patch. It wasn't too ridiculous, but it also did a lot.
Yep. And as I have been saying since, when they first revealed Battlefield 1, trust Lars, man.
Yep.
Trust Lars.
We're very happy that Lars Gustafsson is leading the design team on Battlefield 1. He is one of the only remaining original developers for Battlefield, and as opposed to the guys that led the design teams before, I think he's really trying to make a classic Battlefield experience, as opposed to something which was completely different, which is what you can think of BF3 and BF4 being. And he's doing a really good job reining in the types of changes that they do in the patch. There were a few things that they changed that we didn't really agree with, but most of the stuff was rather conservative. It wasn't sweeping just because people were complaining.
Yeah, the one change that I'm the most happy about was the LMG. Archie and I, we both thought that the LMG was perfectly fine before. We were destroying people with it before, and we were worried that when they said that they were going to change it, that they would cave into the general public and just completely mess up the balance of it and make it OP so they'd have to nerf it again. But
Yeah.
what they ended up doing was making the LMG better at doing what we said it was supposed to be doing anyway. They made it better as a mid-range suppression tool. And you can even bring it in close range, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't overdo it on support weapons at all. I was really worried they were going to make it do a lot more damage or something, completely ruin the weapon balance. One of the only things I was really disappointed with the patch was that they lowered the radius of damage for the mortars, which, I mean, it was already low as it is, and now it's even lower. I know that and this is the thing too, they made it harder to use the mortars because they added deviation and shit. Why is the radius of the damage going down if the mortar's becoming hard to use? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and to be honest, I actually really like the fact that they gave the mortar deviation, because, before, if I wanted to bombard an area, I needed to fire, move the cursor, fire, move the cursor. But with how it is now, I can just keep on firing and it'll land in a, random deviation within the circle. I like that more because I like being able to suppress an area. But what I don't like is the fact that the splash damage is so low that you can't really do anything with it.
Yeah, so this was the thing that we were talking about they should do with the mortars. We don't really think that the mortar should be like one of these weapons that's going to kill a lot of people, but if you think about, and we're going to put this in terms of like an RPG, say like Elder Scrolls Online or something. So in games like that, you have people who their entire job in like a raid or something like that is to perform area effect damage. And while the area effect damage isn't particularly high, it's not going to wipe out a whole bunch of mobs. The area effect is enough to where the tanks and the DPS guys who are up front are going to be able to kill the enemy a little bit easier. And we feel that sort of mentality should be applied to the mortar. So its area of effect should be a lot larger, but its damage lower, and then you should get more points for assists with the mortar.
Yeah, what they could do is make its maximum damage range small, but increase the other damage range, like the lower damage range.
Yeah, well, that way, and like I said, that way the mortar becomes a force multiplier for the guys that are assaulting the flag. That way, like when your teammates go up to a flag, say in operations or something like that, while you're not out there killing a bunch of people with a mortar, you are helping them win because you're covering an area with basically an area effect of damage, and that's making the job of the people on the flag and the objective a lot easier because they don't have to use as many bullets to kill the enemy targets. And that, to me, I mean, is there a better definition of support than that? I mean, come on.
Yeah, although our original thing still stands, where we wish that there was an artillery spotting system like in 1942.
I do wish that like they need to make an alternate use for the trench periscope. Like, I get that, it can Q spot in normal mode, but I mean, give it some extra functionality. Give the scouts something else to do. That point still stands from our previous video that we want the old artillery system back, even though the new one isn't particularly bad now because they've added deviation.
And also, unfortunately, and I know that people can't go too crazy trying to balance things around hardcore versus balancing them around normal, but right now in hardcore, I love using the iron-sighted rifles with the scout in hardcore mode, just a kill in one shot. But as far as the gadgets go, the spotting flare is not really useful for anything other than just marking airstrike targets for your friendly planes by them physically looking at it. But other than that, there's no mini-map. Can't even bring up the main map, and I don't want them to, put the big map or the mini map in hardcore. I just want the the scout kit to have more stuff to make it more useful.
Yeah, well, I think for me, like, I'm really happy that hardcore's in. I love the added difficulty that hardcore brings, and we've been having a blast playing it. But to me, there's a few things in hardcore that desperately need to happen. I personally would like to see the tactical map come back, where you hit M and you can bring up a larger map. Whether it shows enemy locations with flares and things like that, that's another topic entirely. But I still would like to have some sort of map to be able to look at, to kind of, especially when you're playing as a squad leader, the map is usually a very useful tool to kind of decide where best to attack or defend, because you can kind of tell, based on where things are happening and where the majority of your forces are, where you need to reinforce. And things like the mortar and the battleship, for instance, they don't have the maps anymore, and it's really hard to you have to basically walk both of those in. So in hardcore, even though I like the way the rest of the HUD is, the maps for the mortars and the dreadnought need to come back so that you can actually use them. And I think the mortars on the train are the same way as well.
Yeah, the only thing is I don't think they should show enemy positions on there, even with a spotting flare.
Yeah, well, I think one way they could do it is you bring back the map, obviously, so that you can see where you're aiming. And then what you could do is you could take the spotting flare, and when a scout fires it, wherever it lands, it could put a little mark on the map, which would tell you where they need artillery fire. And that would kind of add another dimension to the scout's ability. Like, that would take another level of skill to be able to fire a flare and put it exactly where you need it, so you can get good effect on target, you know?
Oh, so the flare itself doesn't show enemies, but the guy on the mortar can see the flare mark on his little map. Okay.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that would be really cool, because, you know, while he won't be able to see the enemies, he would at least know where the flare is sitting. And, you know, it's fine for airplanes, obviously, because airplanes, the dudes can just kind of look out the bomb site and see it. But for everything else...
Yeah, it's funny. Another thing we started resorting to, since, like, there is no map, is, you know, we started tossing smoke on targets that we wanted bombed.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mind it, honestly, if they put in a marker smoke grenade, which didn't cover an area, but was able to, you know, maybe you could change the color of it to one of the historical colors of smoke, and you could use it to mark a location. I really wouldn't mind that either.
Well, they could make faction-specific smoke, too. Like, grenades in this game are, for the most part, faction-specific.
And can I just say that that's another favorite part of this, of one of my favorite things of this patch, that the mortars now have smoke rounds. That's awesome.
Yeah.
In the house.
Like,
that's something that should have been in the first place, and the mortar artillery truck had smoke rounds as well.
I think that they need to add smoke rounds to more than just the mortars. Like, I would love it if the battleship, the dreadnought, for instance, could fire smoke rounds for operations, or maybe even some of the tanks, like the howitzer light tank, or maybe some of the field guns.
Damn it.
Because these smokes cover a lot bigger area, and they're a lot better, you know? So it's like, I really would love to see more of that, because smoke is just so crucial.
Yeah. And I know this is getting a little off topic, but since we, you know, said something about behemoths, I want to see like behemoths versus behemoths at some point too.
Yeah, that'd be sweet if we could just have an entire game mode. Maybe it's a 16-player game mode or something, but just have an entire game mode dedicated to behemoth fights. That'd be sweet.
So, Titan mode?
Actually, I wouldn't even mind if they could somehow, like, if they made a version of the airship that you could board, like, because you know how in the single player you can, like, walk in that section of the airship? That'd be really cool if they made that into a Titan mode. I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, and you could go around, like, destroying the little gas compartments to try and take it out.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be really cool. I don't know if they could. They probably really might be able to do it with dreadnoughts. I mean, it'd be more of a naval thing. Maybe you could just make a map with 2 dreadnoughts and a bunch of gunboats, and that'd be hilariously fun.
Well, yeah, remember Rheinway-Bung from Forgotten Hope?
I do remember Rheinenbung, which was a really crazy battlefield map because frickin' all it was ocean, and you just played the ships, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, but anyway, getting back on topic.
I think one other thing I want to mention today, and I'll put a link down in the description. Postscriptorum just put out another dev blog. They put it out yesterday, I think.
A third one?
Yeah, I think it's the third one. I mean, he didn't really.
Quickly.
Yeah, he didn't say anything in the video, but he was showing off some stuff, showing off like 18-pounders and some British weapons and things like that. So it seems to be running a lot better now. I don't know if that's because of the squad patches or if they've done some optimization, but animation seems to be getting better. The game is looking great, and he was showing off. The Market Garden map where they have a whole bunch of C-47s flying over, which was pretty cool. I'm really excited for that. I personally, because we were a World War II community, so I'm like really excited to have Squad based on World War II, because Squad is just awesome, and World War II Squad's going to be even better.
Yeah, and from the looks of it, like, I'm going to YouTube right now and see when they release the first dev blog, because they're coming out really quickly.
Yeah, I feel like they're really moving along. But I also feel like they're having a lot of help with Postscriptorum, because I know for a fact they're working closely with the Squad devs.
Yeah, and I also think that they got a lot of this stuff. I think they completed a lot of things first and then started releasing shit.
Yeah, well, that's the way to do it, though. Honestly, like when we were working on No Man's Land, everybody wanted to, because we were trying to make a World War I modification for FH2. And one of the problems was that while we were working on that, we didn't really have a lot of assets, so we couldn't really build a lot of maps. So when you're constructing something like that, I think it's a really good idea to get this massive archive of assets, and then it's too easy to just start popping out maps and stuff like that.
Oh, by the way, it's a Postscriptum, not Scriptorum.
Oh, Scriptum, I'm sorry.
Let's see. So, the first dev blog was 1 month ago, and then their second one was 6 months ago.
Well, that's not bad. I mean, yeah, so they're putting one up, about every 6 months then?
No, the first one was 1 month ago, and their second one was 6 days ago.
Oh. You said 6 months. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of a long time.
Sorry, getting kind of distracted.
Watching the video right now.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
I guess another thing I should make mention of, Darth Mod, or Darth from Empire Napoleon, who made some pretty famous mods for Total War games. We can all remember that he released Ultimate General Gettysburg, which was not bad. And then he just released on Steam Early Access Ultimate General Civil War. I bought it. It's about $30, and I've been having a lot of fun with that game. Actually, it's not a bad strategy game. I think it definitely could use a lot of improvements. But if you're big into strategy, especially involving the Civil War, and you want a more narrative experience, I definitely recommend it.
Oh, so he released a different one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm assuming this focuses on the whole war, not just Gettysburg.
Yeah, so when you start the campaign, it's going to ask you to create a name for your general, and then you're going to go through a couple of selections, and basically you're going to give your general some traits, basically. You're going to get +3 logistics or something for whatever it's talking about, and then that's what your general's abilities are. And then you start the campaign, and you can do custom battles, you can do multiplayer, and you can go in there and play through the campaign, which starts out with a tutorial mission where you have to attack a town and destroy an armored train, which was pretty cool. I lost that mission, but I didn't lose that mission. I kind of get mad at strategy games that do that. Like, you're winning the battle, and then it's like, time up, you lose. I'm like, God damn it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, come on, get rid of the whole time limit thing. Like, that's ridiculous. If I win the battle, I win the battle, period.
All right, so what else did we have to talk about?
Well, I think that's about it for me. We are going to be making our first history video, which will be on the scout weapons of Battlefield. We have the script written. We just got to record it. And I'm going to try and render up some more game. I got plenty of gameplay footage hanging around on the computer here. I just got to render it all together and upload it. So look forward to all that stuff coming up soon. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you for watching Battered Bastards of Battlefield.